your income, when your income was 55,000 national as the average, and the house was 3 times your income, now it's averages like 85,000, but the cost of a house is 10 times what your salary is. Like,
And it's exponentially getting worse.
and it's getting worse.
So for the average Australian listening to this right now, they can feel the pain. You feel the pain of your grocery bill, your petrol bill, electricity bills. You feel the taxes. You feel yourself being drained emotionally, mentally, and financially. What can the average Australian do? Because it sounds like what's happening upstairs, we have no control over. That's the perception I'm getting. What can we actually do besides going, fuck this, I'm out of Australia? Because talent's leaving.
Well, for the next 3 years, most Aussies can't do anything. But I know, I take that back. The what most Aussies can do is get involved in politics, which I know is a horrible thing to say, because most Aussies can't stand politics and they dread every time an election comes around. But I would say get involved in in parties that aren't part of the majors, and I also say that with the Greens, because Greens are part of the Labor Party and they're part of the majors as well. Get involved in like the Libertarians, People First, or Jared Rennick, or it doesn't matter, like one of the minor parties, so to bolster their numbers, to make sure that at the next election cycle that those minor parties like Libertarians and others can have a really good run. They have money coming in, they have people supporting them, they have door knockers, they have people who are volunteers who can actually get the messaging out, because we've got to do something. Because I don't see a future for most Australians, because essentially the erosion that's happening in this country is so bad that most people, unemployment is increasing, homelessness is increasing, people leaving is increasing. I just don't see this bright, beautiful future for Australia.
Okay, so without catastrophizing, I don't want to sit here and everyone listening to go, we're fucked, we can't do anything. I believe in personal ownership and responsibility. So if everything you're sharing today is factual and true, we can't control the government for the next 3 years, then as Australians, how can we get resourceful? Because I can move to Dubai, take my business with me, pay 0 tax or 10% tax, save millions of dollars a year, invest that money, have health, safety, and there's no taxes. So why would I stay in Australia if I'm going to take ownership of my world?
I just want to put another layer on that, which I was about to get to. And I say it's all good and well for people who can pick up and shift. Majority of Australians aren't, wouldn't have the ability to be part of the gig economy. They're wage earners, so they can't go in Dubai because the job doesn't exist to support their family that they currently got now. So it's in a debt trap. Like they're stuck. They're fucking stuck.
They are.
Unless they're going to retool and become an entrepreneur who can work from a laptop and have that freedom or agency over their own life. It's not looking good. It's bleak.
It's very bleak. It's very bleak.
But the people, we do have a choice, right? And the choice is when you vote.
That's right.
Right. And the thing is, I've learned a shit ton about politics in the last 6 to 12 months, right? I was always, business owner, I'm in business. Parents always voted liberal. I vote liberal. That's the way it is. Never checked policies, right? Never actually opened up a liberal website to check policies. Have you ever?
Never.
Have you ever?
I never thought politics was important.
Right, since the pod, right? Ignorance is bliss. But and this is a thing, right? Like one of the questions I have: why are people then voting for Labor or Liberals? Because they feel like they have no other choice.
Yeah.
Because really, the voice. It's like me talking like this on a podcast, very loud, and then me turning away from the mic and talking like this, and you can't like that. There's no voice back here.
That's right.
Right. And I think that's what the issue is, because they feel like they have no choice. They vote in either or, and then you're stuck in this situation. But it's not always the case, right? Like you heard it from Jed. He said, when Howard was in, Australia was prosperous. It was, cost of living was in check. People were earning money. Things were, were good. I wasn't here then. I arrived in 2007, right? So I can't comment on that. And that was one of the major political parties. So it's not like it can't be,
But even in
that's where I get
2000s,
confused a little bit with the whole politics, right? Like,
And also, just on the learning process through here is about how the government currently buys their votes, like the Labor Party with social welfare plans and all that sort of stuff like that to keep them voting the same way. So, I mean, we're probably getting handouts. They're not exactly going to change for less, are they?
The other problem is, well, that you're right, the pork barreling and the buying of votes and some aspects of voter suppression that happens in certain electorates and the redrawing of district lines, that all happens. That's true. But the other major problem is messaging. Liberals, conservatives in general, have a problem with messaging. They always have. And I don't know what it is. It's something to do with the attitude or the style or the way they deliver it. They struggle with it. The left doesn't struggle with that at all. So the messaging is very different. And people will listen to things that is very critical about who they're going to be voting for running up to an election, about things that are sensitive subjects to them. Unfortunately, Peter Dutton was a terrible messenger. He was a shocking messenger. I'm not saying Albanese is some golden child. He's not.
He just had to shut up at that one.
But yeah, he essentially all Albanese had to do was be quiet, and Dutton was going to hang himself. That's it. Now, when you say about what can Aussies do, well, yeah, they can leave, as you said. They can get involved in the minor parties like the Libertarians and help them run a decent campaign for the next election 3 years from now, if we're going to even be here, because I'm very concerned about where Australia's going. But you're right in saying that most people don't care, or you didn't ever care, or you don't open web pages. Most people don't care. That is that's concerning. It's fine for the states, because for most things I've said in the US, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans in charge, for most people it didn't really matter because of states' rights and the way that taxes work and so on and so forth. It didn't matter because it didn't affect you. All right. It's only been in the last couple of years where it's sort of really started to sort of at a granular level affecting people. But in Australia, it's always been the case. It's always been the case since time immemorial that voting left or right would have a significant impact on how you conducted yourself, whether it was travel, buying a house, running a business, who you were employed with, whatever. Because both sides of party politics would have significant granular implications to the everyday Aussie. So it really did matter. Unfortunately, it's gotten to the point now where they've gotten so deep into the everyday Aussie's pocket and they're hurting us. Like, I'll give an example. This is a pain point. Food is like, we have to think about it every day. We have to go to the shops. We have to buy. People are cutting costs in food. That is very, very dangerous territory for a country to be in. To give you an example, Australian beef is one of the best beef in the world. We export it all over the world. We export it to places like Dubai, and they pay an absolute premium for Australian beef. Okay, but to give you an example, we also sell 30% of our beef to China. China has it on their store shelves for a third of what we pay for as Aussies in Australia. And this is after they slaughter it, they put it in refrigeration units, they export it to China 6,000 kilometers away. Chinese buy it at a third of what we pay for here. Now, we're talking billionaires in China, and China's got heaps of them, buying Australian beef prime cuts for a third of what Aussies pay for at Woolworths or Coles. That is absolutely ludicrous. And the reason why is because some government official, some politician, Albanese or another, has signed up very, very lucrative rights to Australia to sell produce, whether it's food, whether it's gas or it's coal, to China or to other countries at bargain bottom pricing. No other country operates this way. America doesn't operate this way. UK doesn't operate this way. They sell stuff globally at market rate. We sell it at a quarter.
So like sitting here and thinking about, the people, the everyday person, right? That sits there and goes, I have no other choice. It's either Liberal or Labor, and I'm a worker or I'm part of a union, whoever you are. I then go to the polling booth and I'm going to vote for Labor. That's fine. You vote for Labor.
Yep.
So voting for Labor, really, in my opinion, right? And I have some, not in my opinion, just from what I've researched, right? There's a stronger role for government, right? Providing public services like healthcare, education, welfare. I'm all for that.
Yep.
The reality is that costs money.
Yep.
Okay. support for workers' rights, strong union representation.
Mhm.
I'm all about workers' rights.
Yep.
I think that workers have plenty of rights in this country,
Sure.
in my opinion, compared to a lot of other countries.
Yep.
That costs money.
Yep.
Higher taxation on wealthier individuals and corporations to fund social programs.
Mhm.
We know that, right? Labor like to tax the higher earners.
Yep.
That's fine.
Mhm.
Higher earners are leaving.
Yes.
I've been here 18 years,
Mhm.
right? And at not other than the last 2 years, I don't know anybody out of my close network, right, that is left due to cost of living and taxes.
Mhm.
I know multiple people that have done in my little network,
Mhm.
right? Now, there's going to be a lot of people I don't know that are doing the exact same thing. My missus sends me all the time things on Instagram of families leaving
Mhm.
Bali, Thailand,
Yep.
Dubai, Europe, all these places, right? Progressive social policies, climate, action, gender equality, these types of things, right? Now, the way I look at it is these things are all great. That's fine. They're
Mhm.
all needed in the government. They're all needed in society. They all cost money.
Mhm.
The issue is going to be, there's going to be a point in time where, like in the UK, there's millions of millionaires leaving
That's right.
every year,
That's right.
right? If that happens here, if
Mhm.
millions of millionaires leave here,